The Speediance Home Gym Monster is nearly perfect for what I am looking for in a home gym. However, the price is pretty high and it has some things that give me pause. However, let's take a look and see if it's something you can implement into your home gym setup. But before jumping into my review, I wanted to go over that I did receive this product for free from Speediance in order to make this review. So this is actually the first time this has ever happened on this channel where I accepted an offer, and the only reason I really did was because this was actually on my list of items to buy and test out in the future anyway. So when they reached out, I talked with them, they said I could make a review and not hold back on anything, so I accepted and they sent me this for free to review on this channel. So if you do decide to go and use the link in the description and code GamerBody, for one, you can save up to $150 on your order with that code, and you will be sending a commission to GamerBody that I will use to help improve this channel in the future. And with that, what is the Speediance Gym Monster? So in short, it is a smart home gym. The device uses magnetic resistance, which we do see in other similar products on the market today. So it applies force against your muscles that allow the stress you need to build muscle and get stronger while you rest. But one cool thing with the Speediance is it essentially has an onboard computer. This allows you to build your workouts, just do free workouts, pick programs on the device, even look up your personal information without using something like a phone app. Now there is an app included where you can actually build your workouts on that, and it's sent to this onboard computer of the device, and you can use the screen to run it, but just know it has its own that you can set up everything you need so that you can do it all on this device. And everything here comes in a pre-formed small factor. So if you're used to seeing like those giant cages in people's garages, it is nothing like that at all. It only goes about 6 feet tall, has a standing platform, but overall it's a pretty compact and small device and has a foldable platform that allows you to store it when not in use. Now I'm going to get into the big heavy hitting issue right away, and that is going to be the price of the Speediance. So today is April 17th, 2023. And looking at the Speediance website, and for the cheapest option, which is called Speediance Works, it's $2,699. I'm going to go and add it to the cart real quick, and we're going to run a quick checkout. Now I'm going to blur out some of my information for you, but just know that the final cost, if I put in my address here, and we continue to payment, the total that it comes out to for me, as of right now, shooting this is $2,924. So that is very pricey, as it does come with a standard freight shipping of $225 to get that out to you. So do know, you do have to pay for shipping, which is pretty costly on top of the product as well. So moving on, I'm going to go over the unboxing of the Speediance and my experience there. So for me, this came in a giant box that was offloaded while I was working my 9-to-5 job. So they put it in my garage as I was working at the time, but in order to get this in my house, I had to do quite a bit of heavy lifting. So this thing is not the lightest object in the world, and the box itself is pretty big as well, as all of it comes pre-assembled for you, except for the bench. But the actual device is all already assembled for you, so it's just in one big giant box that I had to get into my house. So getting that from my garage to my main room took me about 10 minutes. I did have to figure out how to drag it, so I actually got it on like a big blanket and just dragged it from my garage into my office, as it is pretty heavy, and had to have my wife help me at some of the more tricky parts of it, getting it through my doorway. So no, it is a giant box it comes in, and it is pretty heavy overall. But in the end, I got it into my office, and after doing the full unboxing, here is what I received. So first off, I got the Speediance, as that is the main draw for this product, and you can't do anything else without it. Next up, I got a barbell, and this has been actually pretty fun to use in my initial testing, as I don't get to use a lot of objects like this. Yes, I do have the hyper bell and things of that nature, or my resistance bands bar, but it's been kind of nice to use an actual barbell, as I haven't used them for quite some time. Next up, I got 2 smart handles, and these are smart because they have buttons on the sides that allow you to add on the resistance or remove it if you need to be done with a set. So it's kind of a safety thing, or if you want to start the set, you click it to get it going. From there, I also got a bench with the order. So for this, it does not come assembled, so you do have to put the feet on it. This takes like a couple minutes max. It's very, very simple. And once you get the feet on, it fits actually on the platform itself. So you can actually put the bench right on top of the platform, and it fits perfectly for using it when you need to do it in an exercise. And lastly, I got 2 ski handles. I really don't use this, but if you're someone who does the whole ski cardio based thing, you can use it with this device. Now I went back and looked at the sales page for what you actually get with the Speediance Works, and noticed I actually didn't get some of the objects that are in that package. So here are the things I didn't get that you would get with that $2,699 price tag. So you would also get a tricep rope, 2 ankle straps, a yoga mat, as well as a barbell pad. And I wish I did have the barbell pad, as my upper trap shoulders are kind of sore from, again, not using it for so long and doing things like squats. When I haven't done them for a very long time, that barbell can really kind of dig into your back. So I wish I did have the pad. I've just been using like a towel or something in the meantime. But just know, those are the objects you would get, or the items you would get with your order that I did not receive in this free one. Moving on, let's take a look at the specs or dimensions of the Speediance itself. So when you have the product folded up, so it's just standing in the vertical with the bottom platform folded up into it, it comes out with a length of 1 foot 4 inches, a width of 2 feet 3 inches, and a height of 6 feet tall. So the height's really never going to change, it's always that 6 feet tall, but do know when you fold it up, that length changes from like 4 feet up to 1 feet 4 inches. So it's actually kind of thin when looking at it. So now if you want to use it, you do have to put the platform down. There's a small button on the right hand side when you're looking at it that allows you to unlock it from that position, and you just fold it, put it on the ground, and then you lock it into place. And when that is all set up, the dimensions are length of 4 feet 1 inches, width of 2 feet 3 inches, and then a height of 6 feet. So really the only thing that changed here was the length going from 1 foot 4 inches to 4 feet 1 inches. And as mentioned before, this is actually a really heavy device, and pretty much all of the weight is on one side, and that is where the platform is attached to and folds in and out. It's also where all the computer components and cabling is in the device. So it makes sense that all the weight is here, but it makes it very awkward, especially again when I was carrying in that package, to actually get it inside, as all that weight was really on one side of the box, making it very, very heavy. But the weight listed is 85 kilograms, which is also about 187 pounds. So again, not the lightest device in the world to maneuver, especially if you're trying to pick it up off the ground, but it does have wheels if you want to wheel it and move it around to different places. So we covered kind of the specs and dimensions of the device, but what about the screen? So it comes with a 21.5 inch screen that is 1080p, and it is a touch screen. So you can just touch it, pick all the exercises and stuff you want, and do it that way pretty easily. Now the screen is locked in portrait mode, so you can't rotate it into landscape. It's always in portrait, but you can rotate the angle of it towards you to have it be so it's like vertical. So when you're doing like standing exercises, you can see the screen. Or if you're doing something like bench pressing and you're laying on the bench, you can angle it down so that you can look up at the screen itself. So we covered all the kind of basic information of the Speediance. Let's take a look at what you do when you're setting it up and getting it ready for doing an actual workout. So first up, you would need power, so you need to go and plug the power cable into the wall and make sure that outlet actually has power. Next, there's a button on the back that actually turns on the device itself. So once you power going to the Speediance, flip that switch and make sure it is glowing so that you have power going to the Speediance. Now note, if you have this in sleep mode, just tapping the screen will turn it on. Otherwise, you have to do what I'm doing here and plugging it in and turning it on. So once you have power to the device, now we need to set up the standing platform, which means on the bottom right-hand side of the device, if you're looking directly at it, you press the button in to unlock the platform. It is a little bit heavy, so make sure that you kind of grab it and slowly lower it to the ground so it's come crashing to the ground. And then once you do that, there are locks that are on both sides, so they're on the right and left side of the platform. So you basically just bring them forward and you lock it down into place. That way everything is stable when using it. So next up is setting up the cables, and this will be determined by what exercise you are doing. If you're using the vertical bars, there's 9 different selections you can pick from to put the anchor in place. But if you're standing and using the platform, then there's only one option, and basically what you do is you take the connector and you slide it into the little anchor points, and it'll automatically lock into place once it goes far enough into it. And this is really cool because now you can actually do pull down exercises, and changing between the floor to the vertical bars is very, very quick and easy. And it's one of the main things I love about the Speediance with their design. So that is about it. You have everything set up. From here, you're going to use the screen, pick your exercise, workout, program, whatever it might be, and you are good to go. Alright, so now we're going to go over some other fun things about the Speediance itself, including how much resistance it can provide. So that resistance is a max of 220 pounds. Now this is a pro and kind of con. For the average person, this 220 pounds is going to be more than enough. Now, if you're someone who's been lifting a long time, you're a power lifter, someone who's really strong, etc., this might not be enough for you and you might want to look at a different device. It is something I would like them to improve because I did actually max out deadlifting at the 220 for only 3 reps, but that's all the assessment asked for. So it is something I would like them to add on to in the future, but I think 220, again, is by far more than most people need. And even for me, when going to like 10 reps and doing maybe like a Romanian deadlift, this is more than enough. Now, in doing an exercise or even like a free workout, there are 4 different options you can choose from for different resistance types that you can try out, and they are as follows. First off, you have your standard, and this is the one I primarily use in all of my lifts, and this is just that you have constant tension the entire time through the exercise range of motion. And this doesn't change, it's just that standard constant tension. Next up are chains. This basically just simulates you putting chains on like a barbell or something. Again, I never really even do this in real life, but if you want to simulate having chains on the bar, go ahead and try this option. Moving on, we have the eccentric option. This basically removes any tension or as much tension as possible from doing the concentric or the shortening part of the lift. So it's thinking of a bicep curl. When you're actually doing the curl up, that's the concentric. There's basically no resistance there, and then it applies all the resistance on the eccentric part of the lift. So when you're lowering it back down to the ground in the bicep curl or the lengthening of the muscle, that is when all of the resistance is applied. And this is pretty common with people trying to break through plateaus. Now, the last one is called constant, and I was trying to decide what's different between the standard and the constant, as basically it states that it maintains a balance of tension and contraction forces used in strength test and rehabilitation training. Now, when I used it, it actually just felt easier than using standards, but it says it has constant tension the whole time, so I've been playing around with it. It never really felt any different to me. So I'm still playing with it, but just know there is something called constant, which appears to be maybe a little bit of an easier version than the standard for doing your exercises. So those are the 4 exercise types that you can do. With that, you also get a spotter mode that I wanted to go over as it's very important with this device. So the first option is none. This is essentially as it sounds, as there is no spotter on this. Now you still can get out of the exercise. On the handles you have buttons, and on the bar you actually have a device you clamp onto the bar that is Bluetooth to the actual onboard computer that will turn it off when you press the pause button on it, or if you press the handles on the side, those will turn off the device as well. Now this can be tough. I'm going to get into the safety part of this review, but do know you can still turn it off if you get stuck. So the next spotter is spotter 1 or notch 1 when selecting it in the app. And what happens is when you can't draw the cable anymore, so basically you get stuck anywhere in the actual range of motion but not at the ends, it will reduce the resistance or tension on that band that you are moving. So basically, say you're like halfway through but you get stuck, it will reduce the tension until you can continue doing the lift. But no, for spotter 1, the ends of the range of motion, so the top and bottom, if you stop there, it will not reduce it. So it only reduces it when you're in the middle of that range of motion. Now for spotter 2 or notch 2, anywhere you get stuck in the range of motion, the tension will be reduced after a second or 2. I don't know the exact time frame, but it's about 1 to 2 seconds, and I noticed that it reduces the resistance or tension on the bar or handles that I'm using so that I can eventually do another rep. And as a safety precaution, I personally recommend everyone, especially starting out, put it on spotter 2 when you start. Just go into that settings cogwheel, set to spotter 2, and you're good to go from there, as that is the safest option I think when starting out. Alright, now let's talk about the Speediance onboard computer, as this does have some pretty cool features with it. So first off, there are a lot of pre-loaded exercises, workouts, and full programs on the device if you're just looking to get into something quick and do it that way. If you don't like any, go ahead and build your own program like I did. So you can build custom programs or just do a free workout and pick your own movements and exercises, and you can do your own one that way as well. So along with the onboard computer, Speediance did make a phone app. Now this app is pretty cool because it essentially is the same thing as the onboard computer. No, you can't use it when doing your workout, but you can build workouts, you can see programs, you can see exercises, and you can see like all of your stats right on the device or on your phone as well. And these all sync to the Speediance after you save them. So I highly recommend just like building it on your phone, and then when you're ready to use the Speediance, you can log in and you'll see them all there and you're ready to go. So for me, with this review Speediance, I did get a VIP membership for free. So I get to test out everything for free, and I believe it's a lifetime membership. They actually, as of shooting this video in April, do have a promotion going on that if you buy the Speediance in April, I'm not sure how long it lasts, they wouldn't tell me, but you get a lifetime membership for it. So again, if you bought, like maybe right now, you can go on the page itself and you can see if you get a free membership for buying early with this device, which is pretty cool. But if you do miss that free period, it is $30 per month for a membership, and you get everything included. So you can go through all the programs, workouts, all that kind of stuff. I will be putting on screen what you get if you have a free versus a paid membership. That way, if you didn't get, again, the free VIP membership, you can take a look and see what you get if you just let it go to a free plan. Alright, it is time to talk about the pros of the Speediance after using it for a couple weeks and running some tests. So my first pro is that it is a freestanding device that I can set up anywhere, and it can wheel around all over my room to use when I want to. There's no wall attachments or anything like that. It allows me to, if I want to, hide it when not in use. My next pro is that you can do pull downs with this device. Now again, in my previous Vitruvian review, this was a big problem as they only had the standing platform, but the Speediance figured it out and made their own vertical bars, which is pretty cool. Yes, I do have to kneel or sit on a bench in order to do the pull downs, as it's only 6 feet tall. So if you're really tall, it can become an issue. You might have to also sit away from it and kind of angle yourself to do the technical pull downs. But for me, I just sit on my knees and it's enough space where I can actually do a full pull down, which is really, really cool, as I haven't had something like this besides like my resistance bands on my door frame in a long time. My next pro might be controversial, and it'll really depend on how strong you are, the years you've been working out, and other factors, and that is that the Speediance can provide up to 220 pounds. Now for the average individual, this will probably be more than enough, but this will be a con for you if you were someone like, again, a power lifter, or you were just really, really strong. This may not be enough for you. I maxed out the deadlift on this in the first assessment ever using the device, so that could become an issue for me, but we'll see, as that was only 3 reps and I still have a long way to go before 10, and since I do more of like a Romanian deadlift style movement, it may be even longer than that. My next pro is the design of moving the cables from the vertical bars to the standing platform, as I think this is one of the big game changers because of how easy it is to do. All you have to do is unclip the little anchor that they've made that houses the cable inside it with the attachments, and then take it from either the vertical bars to the platform or vice versa, and it takes me maybe 10 seconds max for each one. So this is very, very quick. If you're not doing an exercise, no tensions on the cable. So again, it's very, very easy to set up and go between the two options. Next up, the spotter mode is pretty cool. Just make sure that you turn it on. Again, I recommend the spotter 2 mode when starting out, so that way if you get stuck at any part of the range of motion, that resistance is reduced for safety reasons. So again, make sure you turn that on simply to be safe when using this device. Moving along, I'm very glad that Speediance also built the phone app, because again, I've been using it a lot to like build out my workouts that I want to try myself on the Speediance. Yes, you can build it all out on the screen that comes with the Speediance, but you have to stand there clicking on a giant screen. It's much easier on my phone, just kind of flip through it really fast. I'm used to my phone anyway, and build it out and just have it sync over. So I'm glad they also built the app to use that way. Again, you can't use it in your actual workouts, but you can build plans, look at exercises, and other personal information, and have that sync up to the Speediance for your next workout. And my last pro is that the Speediance is very responsive. So the actual touchscreen is more responsive than I expected. So I really do like that about the device. I can kind of just click around really quick, change settings, change exercises, all that stuff feels very, very nice and quick when using it on that giant screen. And with that, we're gonna move into my cons list of the Speediance after my initial tests. Now my big con with the Speediance has to be safety. There were definitely some scary moments when I was getting used to the device, especially when laying on the bench and doing some of those movements. So here I'm going to jump into it. When, for example, you do bench press, you have the barbell and you're laying on the bench. Getting into position is a little awkward, but basically the only way out of that, if you fail, so say you fail doing the bench press, is to either use the clamp that's on that you can like clamp onto the barbell. So there's like a clamp with a couple buttons that are Bluetooth to the actual onboard computer of the Speediance. And it works pretty well most of the time. Sometimes it can disconnect on you, which is annoying. And that's really bad if you're under the bar with a lot of weight. But that hasn't really happened to me. So luckily I was always able to turn it off. but then you also have the spotter mode. So that's why I always recommend the spotter modes be on in case something like that fails. Now, the little clamp as well as the handles do take batteries, and that was very annoying to figure out. That you actually have to put in batteries to that, and they don't come, or mine didn't come with any, so I had to actually go out and buy some. I think they were AAA batteries that I had to put in, so I had to have, I think it was 3 total. So one for each piece, so the handles and that little clamp. So just know, this is by far my biggest issue with the Speediance. I actually think they should have some safety cables. One cool thing about like the Vitruvian is they had separate cables off the device that you could then clamp on for things like squats, bench pressing, so that if you ever did get stuck, the thing couldn't actually go all the way back down to the bottom of the range. So it wouldn't just crush you on the bar or on the bench. So that is what I hope they look to build in the future and have that implemented as an option that you can either upgrade to or provide it with your device, so that you have some safety cables that go and provide a bit of range so that you can, like, if you get stuck, if you get stop on those cables, you can bail out and turn it off. And another last point on the safety, as soon as you have resistance on the bar or on your handles, moving your thumbs to press those buttons, especially if you have a lot of resistance, becomes almost impossible. Think of it, you're having like all this pressure on your palms. It is very hard to maneuver your thumb to press those buttons when you have all that force pushed against your palms and you're trying not to have it like snap back your arms and get you crushed. So again, both barbells and the handles. Actually, the handles were almost worse. I got stuck. I couldn't turn it off, and I basically just had to like throw them to the side, and they like crashed to the ground. Luckily, the device, if it ever has like a jerk motion, it will just turn off the resistance. They kind of just fell to the ground at that point. But do know, I did get stuck, especially with the barbell. I had it stuck on me for a good like 5 seconds trying to press that button on the clamp that was on the bar. So again, I have some big safety concerns with this. I hope they see this and implement something like safety cables or something like that, or just enhance how failing works with the device, as that could be a software update. The spotter mode is pretty good to start, but you have to remember to turn that on. I think it should just always be on, in my opinion. My next con is that they have unique clips for the handles and bars and other attachments. And I don't like this. I wish I could just pick my own and just put them on standard attachments. Why do we have to have these like custom built little like connectors and pieces? I understand you want people to buy these separate pieces from your company to make money, but I don't know. To me, it puts a poor taste in my mouth, as I'd like to just be able to use my own personal equipment instead. Now, for the handles, you do have the safety handles, things like that, so people would probably still buy those just for that reason. But if you get your own like barbells and stuff like that and use the clamps that come with it, I think just let people pick what they want to use with your device. Don't force them into certain items, because I think that's a little annoying. So that's kind of my one gripe with it. Again, it's probably a smaller con overall, as I kind of understand where they're coming from, but it would be nice to be able to pick my own attachments when using it with the cables, instead of having their own unique attachment to use. My next con is the Speediance is heavy, and a lot heavier than I expected. 85 kilograms or 187 pounds-ish is a lot. I didn't even think it was going to be more than 100 pounds, and I got the thing, and again, it was so hard to move around in the box to get into my office to then take out of the box. Getting it out of the box was another story. So all of that became kind of a pain in the butt. So do know this is heavy, and I hope in the future they're able to figure out a way to make it lighter. There's a lot of parts in it, I understand that, and it still has to produce 220 pounds of resistance. So there's a lot going on there, but I hope in the future they're able to figure out how to reduce the weight quite a bit for the device. Next con is one that's going to be common with most people, and that is the price. Now, again, this is pretty competitive with things like the Vitruvian. It's much better priced than things like Tonal, and there are a couple other ones that I've found that are more expensive than the Speediance. This one actually might be on the lower end of the price range, but for me, this is still really expensive. Most people, I don't think, are going to be able to afford this. That's why I make a lot of my setup is more simple. Just use resistance bands, cost you like maybe $100 or $200-ish max to like do it, versus thousands of dollars that people are trying to spend. So again, if you make sure, for one, you have the money to afford this. Don't go willy-nilly and just buy it just because I make a review on it and I kind of like the product. Don't do it for that reason. Make sure you actually have the funds to purchase this first. And if you do, make sure you actually like what is being presented here, and make sure it actually meets the goals of what you want. So if all those things match, then maybe go ahead and buy it, but make sure you have the funds, as I struggled with even buying this myself because of the price tag. So do know that even with the GamerBody funds I have that go towards things like this, I was hesitant on buying it because of the price as well. The next con is that the vertical bars are unfortunately locked into the width and the height. So the height is going to be a problem for some people who are really tall and want to do pull downs, but what I mean is that the width is also in a locked position. So this means that if you're used to doing like really wide cable flies and things like that, it's not the same feeling as doing it at like a gym or setting up on a different anchor at your house. So you're basically just locked into like this 4 foot wide section where you're kind of just like pulling from here in. So it can be kind of annoying with exercises like that, but for the most part I don't do many of those. Just know that you are stuck with the width of the bars at that. The one place I do find an issue is if you want to do things like sumo squats or sumo deadlifts, you really can't, or I can't because I'm just too tall for it. And the bottom platform, again, is only like 4 feet wide, not even. So that creates a problem where I'm always doing pretty much the conventional squat and deadlift, or else my feet would be off the platform. And you would not want to do that because that could be pretty dangerous if you were pulling up away from the platform without your weight being on it, as it could probably raise the platform and get you injured. Moving on, I did notice that some of my standard exercises weren't in the app yet. So, for example, calf raises, as of shooting this video, are not in the app. Now, I have reached out to them and let them know this, so I hope they do add it pretty soon. But also, shrugs, barbell shrugs, or even using the handles as shrugs, are also not in. And I feel like those are very basic exercises to be missing. Moving on, there's no real fail mode. Now, if you followed any of my other videos, you know I like to actually train to failure for all of my sets, because unless I have a trainer or something really pushing me, I'm probably not really reaching failure. I'm probably more like 1 to 2 reps shy of it. So that's why I do multiple sets most of the time, like 2 to 3 sets. And I always go to failure on my sets because I'm probably, again, not really reaching this. I'm just mentally giving up a bit too early. So because of that, I wish they had like a fail mode where if I failed, it would just end the set and my rest time would start to go into the next set or to the next exercise. Right now, if I decide to end a set early, so say I did like 6 of the 10 reps I wanted to do, I have to click a arrow button that moves it over, but the rest period is skipped. So this is a software thing that should easily be fixable, but it's just something I noticed that's kind of an annoyance for me right now. So again, if you're watching this, please add in that if I want to like end my set, there's like an end set button, and it allows me to also have the rest between the set or exercise start before doing that next set of whatever that is. Alright, we have now reached our final con, and this one is one I test with all of my equipment, as I like to again store it in one place, and that is my closet when not in use. So as of right now, the only product I own that does not meet this is my Renfo AI spin bike, because it's just too big. It did fit in my last apartment or house I rented, it fit there, but does not fit in my sliding door closet. So for this one, I think it would also fit in my last place, but it does not fit in this current closet. Now, it would fit in most, or pretty much all walk-in closets, but again, a standard closet like this, it doesn't fit. So that was very sad for me. It is a con. Again, probably a pretty minor one, as again, it's something I can get around, but I do like to put my equipment away. So I am looking to potentially move in the next couple of months, and maybe they'll have a walk-in closet in my next place I can store something like this in. Alright, so now let's go over some of my final thoughts on the Speediance after using it for about 2 weeks. First off, I really love the design and thought behind the Speediance itself. Being a standalone device that allows for pull downs, has a decent amount of resistance you can use, constant tension, software on the device, an app you can use. They really thought of a lot of amazing things for this product, and I really want other companies and this company to look at this and just keep enhancing on top of what's already been built, because I think this should be the standard for most home gyms, especially if we can start getting competitors and driving down the cost and getting it into more homes. As mentioned, the cost is very high and going to be the #1 factor that really drives people away from buying it. I did actually see this on Kickstarter when it came out a long time ago, and basically had it bookmarked and was just trying to buy it, but I could just never find a way to put that much money into it to really do it. So thank you, Speediance, for sending me a free product to get a review on my channel for my audience to see if they think this is something they can get. Again, make sure you have the funds for this, but make sure it also fits their needs and so they can build muscle and get in shape from their home. Now with that, I would like to see models in the future that can do more resistance as well. So again, like the Vitruvian can do 400 pounds. I could not max that thing. This thing I can max on day 1. So there are going to be people who are trying to leave the gym and work out at home that are really strong and run into the same problem I did with exercises like the deadlift where they can max it. So In future iterations, let's see if we can add more resistance, maybe to like 300 pounds to start, or like 250 to 300, somewhere in that range, just so we can get more people interested in devices like this, so they don't have to waste more time and money at the gym. Along with that, with the next iteration or upgrades to this, let's see if we can make it lighter. Being 85 kilograms or 187 pounds is crazy heavy to get around, especially when that giant box comes and you're trying to get it into your office. So can we work out a way to reduce the weight of this product to make it more manageable for people to move it around, especially when not in use? And lastly, make sure to keep making more software updates with the Speediance. I'm really happy to see that there was an update early on I got to run that updated the spotter mode actually, so that was really cool to see. So keep adding on more things like that. So that is my review of the Speediance Gym Monster. So remember, if you're interested in buying this now, you can save $150 with code GamerBody over on the Speediance website. Also, if you're interested in another product similar to this one, head over and take a look at my Vitruvian V-Form Trainer Plus review that I'll link right here and in the description of this video.